Imagine getting second place in a 1,500 person Pokemon Regional Championships. Already some pretty awesome stuff. But oh yeah, you did it with a rogue deck. And yeah, by the way, this is your first Regional Championships. That is absolutely the stuff of legend. And that's what Nicolo did this past weekend at the Sacramento Regional Championships with this awesome Arceus Gyarados deck. And Arceus Gyarados, by the way, is my favorite deck of all time from previous formats. We really have not seen it in months. This list is just very simple, and like that's okay. Like bro just said, I wanted to play Arceus with Melony. I'm gonna beat Lost Box. I'm gonna beat Charizard. I'm gonna beat Gardevoir, and I'm gonna beat Lugia, and that's precisely what he did. In a room full of Miraidon, just dodge them all. Like that's sometimes at a big tournament like a regional, things have to break your way, and they certainly did. And honestly, it was a pretty good call with the amount of Lost Box there was in the room, and Lost Box bodying Ultimate Miraidons, paving the way for this deck to succeed. But like I said, a very simple list, but there's definitely beauty in simplicity. It just does what it wants to do fairly frequently, even if the overall power level of what it wants to do is not incredibly high. If you do that most every game, then there is definitely power to that. There is like a couple deck cards, like the Vengeful Punch was there to help with Guardy. I think the Defiance Band is like there to try to fight back against Miraidon. I still don't think it's probably enough. To say I'm excited to try out this deck would definitely be an understatement. Arceus has been one of my favorite cards for a long time, one of my favorite styles of deck. Unfortunately, it's just like been kind of underpowered lately. We're actually facing another Arceus deck with hammers and fire energies, so this should be pretty interesting. And Arceus Gyarados was one of my favorite combos back in the day. Had quite a few decent finishes with it. But it's kind of not been super relevant lately, and it's just hard to beat an Arceus deck with Giratina, with Miraidon, with Chen Pao. I'm like still like trying to process like how the deck made it this deep, because like I feel like on the surface it's not all that impressive of a deck. So that's what we're gonna find out today is was that finish, I mean obviously there's luck that goes into any good tournament finish. Like you can't just like no matter what, there's going to be some sort of luck element, luck of matchups, luck of draws. But the whole thing seemed very improbable, at least to me. So I just want to see what the deck has today, because like I'm Arceus Gyarados' biggest fan. If there is one Arceus Gyarados fan left on the earth, it is me. But I feel like especially like coming out of Peoria, Miraidon was one of the decks to beat. It had an insanely strong showing with one in top 4, one in top 8. I do really like the approach Nicolo took with this is his very first regional, and he was on Arceus Gyarados for a while, one of his favorite decks, was very comfortable with it, and didn't just, because a lot of people, they would see a matchup that's like really bad for you like Miraidon, and they would pivot over to something else. And while that isn't always necessarily a bad thing, just a week prior to the tournament, it's kind of risky, especially if you've limited time to test, because then you're just all the investment that you dumped into Arceus Gyarados is like not necessarily wasted, but it's like the new deck you pick up, you're not going to be able to play as competently, most likely, like especially if you are relatively inexperienced. So I do like that approach. Certainly fortunate to hit 0 Miraidons, only face 1 Tina. But I mean, it just be that way. The matchup roulette is, I mean, that you gotta win the matchup roulette to make it deep into these tournaments. Like that's just fact. My opponent playing very risky here, leaving himself with a 0 card hand. I guess like just kind of banking on that hammer jumping them way ahead. But I can Starburst for Melony and double Turbo Energy and get that attack off. Taking the first prize isn't necessarily too big of a deal. After the tournament, he said that Vulpix could be better. I mean, personally, I am definitely biased towards Gyarados, but it kind of takes a little bit away from being a path deck if you are if you incorporate Vulpix, because then like matchups against like Gardevoir and Colorless, where path is really good in it, like you're kind of playing like a 56 card deck. I think I want to re-establish Bibarel. I'm like not too worried about getting knocked out. They have a 1 card hands. So let's just go ahead and get rid of those 2, I think, or maybe even the Switch. I just want to be able to keep building up the hands. Actually, maybe could like have the switch. That might not have been a bad call. Send me Ultra Ball out this, and then I can Ultra Ball out top deck plus water. And okay, do we have enough waters in deck to actually load up the Gyarados? Yeah, we have 3, so that is enough. We have Melony. Is Gyarados, even though my opponent did take 1 prize, so we can't go like 2-3-2. My Gyarados is so incredibly tough for my opponent to knock out. It can one-shot a Slaking V as well. And like my opponent is playing with a 2-card hand, has very little control of what's happening. If I could, I mean, didn't I discard my Cheren, so it'd be insane to Cheren up this Arceus, but it's probably not happening. Yeah, like when I first was watching the stream and I heard Gyarados in top 8, I was almost like certain the casters were either misinformed or didn't know what they were talking about, because like this deck hasn't been relevant for a very long time. And I feel like there's some people who had the take that two completely first-time regional level players were in the finals of a regional, like that was first and second place in Sacramento, were 2 people who had never previously played in regional championships, and somehow that negatively reflects the health of the format, because there's easy decks to pick up. And I think it'd be one thing if the whole format was like low skill bot decks, but there's like so many different ways you can go in this meta. Like if I want to play a high skill deck, I can work on Kyogre. If I want to play a lower skill beat stick, there are options for me. So I think it's also funny that the person who like originally put that out is like someone who's played Regis before, and like it's like, okay, it looks kind of hypocritical. I think it's honestly a great thing that like it proves that anyone can succeed at this game, like as long as you put the time in. Like especially even with like a underexplored strategy like Arceus alongside Gyarados. Like hadn't seen that in a while, so it's great to see new decks and new faces succeeding. I love how one of the reasons to play this Arceus Gyarados deck was Melony. I like Melony. I'm gonna play this deck. I thought that was a pretty funny. And like Melony does feel pretty good in Arceus decks, because then you aren't quite as like, you're not just like totally screwed if you miss Arc Attach on the first turn, especially alongside the Radiant Greninja. I would definitely like to see a Poppy in the list. I feel like that'd be really good. Okay, if I can just get the Gyarados knockout here, we're chilling. Alright, Path, I think we'll drop that, and we'll just play Judge. Hopefully we can find that Gyarados. We're in trouble? Uh-oh. Okay, let's just thin everything out. Okay, we actually only have 2 outs for the Gyarados, so this is potentially scary. Come on. Please, deck. Yes, let's go. Alright, so this should be the game. Well, actually, maybe not, because my opponent just needs to KO this Gyarados to win. We need like a choice belt or something, or to like hammer off that B-Guard energy. Because yeah, Arceus is 3-shotting us right now. But like, I was just the point I was trying to bring up. I got kind of distracted with the gameplay there, and like if Pokemon is so cheap, there are easy to learn decks and there are difficult decks. Like it's very accessible, and really anyone with like really no matter what your play style or preference, there's like pretty much a deck for you. And like also this deck performing well is kind of like a testament to playing what you're comfortable with. Like that's something I personally advocated for a long time, because I performed there have been many times in the past where I would pick up the supposed BDIF. Right, we got the dub with Max Tyrant there. So I'll finish this point in the next game. But playing with what you're comfortable with is just so important. Like one of my #1 tips, like obviously if your deck is just like low tier, probably shouldn't play that, but just play what you're comfortable with. So the point I was trying to bring up in the last game before we got that dub with Gyarados was like I I have a tendency to play more anti-meta rogue style decks just because that's strictly my preference. Most of it would fall into like tier 2 into a tier list. But I've always had like the feeling if I know my deck better than anyone else, and that's something I enjoy playing, like if you are comfortable with the deck you are playing, you are going to play it better. If you enjoy playing it, you are going to play better. I've just had too many negative tournament experiences of picking up supposed BDIF and then just totally bombing because I didn't enjoy the deck and I just didn't play very well. I think like if your deck is like, I'm not saying just pick up like whatever rogue, I don't say rogue, but just like more like meme style, like ooh, against Miraidon. We whiff the attachments. I'm gonna have to pass just to slow them down. We had the vacuum. I'm not saying just pick up like you enjoy playing a crazy deck like Reggie's or something. That deck has pretty much zero merit right now, so like I think there's like a weird line you have to figure out between comfort and merit. Like I've been playing Goodra for a lot, and the deck is definitely not mainstream by any extent, but like it has merit. It has pretty reasonable matchups into everything. I enjoy playing the deck. It has tons of options. So that's what I like playing. I brought it to a couple League Cups. I got top 8 in both of them. I can't really complain with the results. So yeah, like this result is like, bro liked playing Melony alongside Arceus. Gyarados was like the natural partner with that. So that's what they did and did very well with it. I'm like still, as a big Arc Gyarados believer, I'm like still pretty skeptical at this deck's overall chance of succeeding in this metagame. My path is really slowing them down, but also I have nothing going on here. I think I put the Vengeful Punch on the active because that like sets up some pretty spicy math. But I'm bricked out here thanks to my own path. I had to drop it early though because like there's really like the Miraidon players sometimes play 0-way to bounce their own path. We're just unfortunate that we have vacuums there. So this could be slow early going for my opponents. But yeah, I am incredibly biased towards this deck, and I'm still very skeptical. I might have a good swing with the Photon Blaster this turn. And honestly, I feel like if we ran back Sacramento over again, it's probably not an unlikely out. Like, nothing negative towards the pilot of this list. I just feel like to face the matchups that you faced was... I'm not trying to discount what they accomplished because it's incredible to not only do that on your first regional, but with a underrated, underplayed deck in standard format. Like that makes it even more impressive in my opinion. I just feel like the whole run, the whole weekend was just very, very improbable. Like the matches really broke very favorably. Wait, do I just not know what Vengeful Punch does? Hold up. Wait. I thought it... Is it just knocked out? I thought it was damaged. Ah, bet. Okay. I don't know why I thought, I don't know why I thought damaged. It's okay. We're fine. Obviously in this matchup we cannot go with the Gyarados. I think we go Slaking? Like, Slaking can at least start threatening one-hits. It can attack, though, next turn. I think we just trust that opponent don't got it. Or we just go back into another arc. Yeah, let's just at least have the attack guaranteed. It would feel really bad. For some reason, I was like, oh yeah, Vengeful Punch sets up the math perfectly here, but yeah, it's only knocked out. I guess I'd only ever, like, played Vengeful Punch in, like, Sable's Art, so... yeah, know what your cards do. It's pretty good. It's like, no, we glitched. There's like a lot of really cool takeaways that we can get from this event. It definitely does, like, it definitely does show that, like, regionals, there's, like, when you're playing 15 rounds of Pokemon, like, there's definitely a world where I pick up this deck and take it to, let's just say, Toronto regionals. I could face 2 Miraidons in the first 2 rounds and my day is basically over, but, like, it was a pretty cool, interesting call for the events because Miraidon was prevalent, but it didn't do very well because Lost Box was the most played deck. So, as he did not lose early in the tournament. Got a couple wins and I believe a couple ties. So being like 202, you're dodging most of the Miraidons because they've already lost a couple times or 1 or 2 times. There's not gonna be too many with as high match points as you. So like once you got past the Miraidon, the Lost Box stacks were more favorable. Guardy was more favored for you. Zard was more favored. Things become a lot better. There is definitely a lot that can go wrong though. Like you hit that one Miraidon early and your whole day is kind of derailed because like then you hit your auto loss basically, and you're like in the bracket with all of them down there near the bottom tables. Okay, my opponent's just gonna take the knockout with. If we're gonna like, this is why this matchup is just so bad. Even though we jam path early, we don't trade with these guys efficiently at all. They can threaten one hits, while we're just kind of stuck two-shotting them. Like, I can KO Raichu, or I can KO Miraidon, but they just float up Raichu and win. Melony off the top. I think our only play is boss up the Flaffy and hope that that buys us a little time. If bro's got an escape rope, he wins. Unfortunately, we didn't draw very well, and the matchup's already pretty atrocious to begin with. I mean, I'm glad I get to show this because, like, just because they got second, don't think that it's a flawless deck. It was a... I don't know how many of you guys watched the stream, but it's that moment where the Get Angry was missed. The opponent gusted up a Gyarados and hit it for 200. He had the DT in hand to swing with Get Angry, but just retreated. I was like, no, how is this guy in top 8? I'm glad he still got the dub, but it was a pretty crazy moment. Why? It'd be hilarious if like rope surprise and stuff. I feel like my opponent Arvin didn't grab the switch. Didn't grab a switch, so probably has switch in hand is like kind of just BMing me. Or is switching cards or prize, then we are fine. Okay. Were they trying to attach lightnings to the active? Uh-oh. I don't know like what the holdup was there. I guess maybe debating. Pass! Didn't go for the rope, interestingly enough. I'll put down the Bibarel and I'll just pass. I kind of have to like stabilize here, get like a Arceus swing. As well as like setting up backup attacker, but my opponent is clearly not there yet. I don't know what the deal was, like could have Arvin and grabbed rope and won the game, so maybe that's a tell that multiple of those cards are prized. Digging into the deck with research, I mean there goes a switch card. Usually I wonder if they're playing Jesse's list that does not have rope and plays the not Jesse's but JW's list from, well they're not, they have a collapse stadium. Because JW had that deck list error with the beach courts instead of the ropes. Looking for the Mew, which has like an embarrassment of riches on their side. Okay, I think a harder tree and then Melony. I have to see more cards. I'm running out of time. I think I get Bibarel. Gotta get something going here. Maybe the play is just boss on back-to-back turns and just like be like, you know what? You don't have it, buddy. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 energies, so probably 3 or 4 more, so should theoretically have enough gas to get through this game. Okay. We got the arc going. I think we can set up the backup Arceus as well. Then we just swing it back over to my opponents. Yeah. Not great. We just have to survive for 11 more turns. Seems easy enough. They're down 1 boss's orders. Actually played an Iono on me. That's not too big of a deal. I'd like my Lost Vacuum so I could KO this Raichu. Doesn't want to take my pathway. So what they should do is Dynamotor back onto their Flaffy. They didn't. Yo, can bro get a boss? I mean, I could KO this Raichu or Raikou, but do a ton. Ultra Ball. Okay. I think I still Serena and punch this guy, and then I'm just hunting for my vacuum. I don't really want to bench another single prizer because it's like an easy knockout, but like they're knocking out kind of everything anyway. I don't need choice belt. Oh yeah, the other Arceus prize. Okay, well maybe we need to set up Slaking them. We don't have any energies left too. I mean, one. Yeah, this is a pretty miserable position. It's okay. We can work our way back into this one. I have faith. The plan is boss up the Raichu and hit it for 200. Then obviously bench Bidoof. Like, I'm losing to boss anyway, whatever. And then obviously we always find Lost Vacuum. That always gets us I don't know why I like bench all these guys, to be honest, but it's okay. So Vacuum to KO this Raichu. That finds our Arc V-Star. Then we can like KO this Miraidon or something. We got this. Yeah. Actually, kind of, I don't know. Okay, my opponent should have done that last turn. Almost a miss there by my opponents. I have to get rid of 5, which like normally would be a big deal, but bro's got all the energies. Has 10. So I'm gonna play Iono next turn. I can put them down to just 1 card in hand, and I'd like to find the Arceus. Just so like they have the free retreat with the Mew and the Dynamotor. So like as long as they leave, I can get rid of 1 energy here, like probably 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just like keep every option available with Dynamotor. Oh, took. Wow. I'm somewhat surprised that they gave me my stadium back. That means I could get Starbirth if we find the vacuum, because I prized one of my Arceus and the other 2 have been knocked out. So going to Dynamic Spark. We'll see what they do with this. Maybe getting rid of both off the active now because they dropped the Beach Court and are just banking on being able to move this Raichu. So maybe he is playing something like what JW did. Actually leaving. Ooh. Alright. The plan here. I want to bounce the stadium for turn here. Switch is not helpful. We could just see a decent chunk of our deck. Path to the Peak would be a great find. Oh shoot, we just found nothing. Oh, I guess we have the conceal cards. We have conceal cards. We're fine. I mean, there's Path that might be able to buy us another turn. I love what this game is degenerated into. I don't think I shuffle the deck because that's like one more bad top deck. Honestly, I love what this game has degenerated into. You got it? Needs an energy. Needs a switch. I mean, there's 2 court, or there's 1 court and 2 cards. I would have left. You don't need to keep the energy on this Aptos. You can just 100%. I guess you don't want to get this in trap, so maybe you do. Just to draw pass. Alright, I'm gonna Melony then. Put the energy on the Slaking. We just can't. We can't get there right now. Tragic. Alright, let's Pal Pad. I just want boss, I think. I want to boss this Miraidon, really. Maybe the Serena could be okay, too. I can't bench Gyarados and see an extra card, so we'll just Trinity Charge. We have the vacuum, and then we have double boss. This has been such a crazy game. My opponent maybe could have played this better. I think playing top deck the energy. We somehow almost worked our way back in that game. That's crazy, but awkward prizes, awkward start, and just honestly a pretty rough matchup. But it's okay. Arceus Gyarados is still #1 in my heart.